Hi, on this episode I'll be talking to someone I met through Instagram because of our love of diving, Vicky Burton. Do you fancy a brew? From her home in North Lincolnshire, I talked to Vicky about her travels around the world, leading her to becoming a scuba diver. Over a brew we discussed what led her to getting stuck into developing her skills as an underwater photographer, amassing over 15,000 followers on her social media accounts. It was here that she discovered Girls That Scuba, a sanctuary for her and other women to discuss familiar issues and gain support in what to some can seem like a male-orientated world. So grab yourself a brew, sit back and enjoy. Right, so what boils your piss?
So apart from Donald Trump,
Yeah.
keyboard warriors, people that drive too slow on a Sunday.
Any day of the week will do, won't it?
Yeah. I've not got much patience, to be honest, so most things annoy me. But it is crazy how those little things do affect your mental well-being, I think.
Mm. So obviously we met via the Instagram. I don't know if you liked one of my pictures or I liked one of yours from diving or whatever, but obviously we developed a bit of a, you like my picture, I like yours. And I see you at the dive show, which, like I said, I was kind of, don't really know you. Do I go and tap you on the shoulder or whatever? But you were like shopping for BCD or something like that, weren't you? What were you after then? What were you getting?
So my best friend Melissa, I was making her buy all sorts of stuff. So she'd bought BCD, regulator, and then she's now like, thanks for that, I spent all that money and we can't go diving.
Well, I went chatting to the guys at Fourth Element to try. I wanted a wetsuit, but a thicker one. I've got a few now, like 3 I think I've got, but it was just not warm enough for cold water snorkeling or sort of cold water diving even. But I really do struggle with the cold, so I wanted something that would get me deeper. So I went to have a chat with them and bought one, 300 quid lighter. But we used it in March up in the River Duddon, up in the Lake District. And the water temperature was like 5 or 6 degrees. Earth temperature wasn't much more, but I was toasty warm. So the best 300 quid I've ever spent on something like that. But I went down to about 2.5 meters snorkeling.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're at 20 meters for any length of time, it would be flipping horrendous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I use their Arctic range for my dry suit. I wear that under my dry suit.
Nice one.
The Fourth Element stuff. So I like their stuff. I think it's great. I mean, I've got their T-shirt on at the minute.
Yeah. Well, I went from something like that, so a top and bottoms, because I found, so certainly because they're kind of fidgeting I do, you know, with diving a twin set, having to reach over, top can lift up and just a bit of my belly will be hanging out, and that really bugged me. So I did it, you know, you always go on Facebook and stuff like that and ask the questions, which hopefully you get a decent answer to. I said, who wears an all-in-one, like a boiler kind of one? And a few of them came back with one that's called Quark, and it was around about the same money as the top and bottoms for Fourth Element, but it was an all-in-one, and there was loads of different bits about it that made it more suitable for what I wanted. As in, I have a pee valve because, again, drinking a cup of tea, I need a wee every 5 minutes.
You see, women don't have that choice. So again, that's why I wouldn't have a full undersuit, because I would literally have to take everything off.
Absolutely.
And if you're on a dive boat and you're like, it's bad enough trying to get a dry suit off anyway, let alone a whole one-piece undersuit would just be horrendous.
Just get one of them incontinence things on.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
So what made you get in the water in the first place? Had you dived before you actually started to dive? You done a try dive or anything like that, or?
No, I was going I went to Thailand in November 2018, and I wanted to learn to dive before I went.
Right.
So I thought, you know, just as we can go get in the water, it'd be fun. So got up at 6 o'clock, I don't know, 3 Sunday mornings, to do my open water.
Yeah.
Which was fun. Then went up to Capers to do my dives.
Yeah.
Then went to Thailand and I did 2 dives out there. My first one was horrific because I think sometimes it can be a bit, they don't really take care of you very well. You know, we had said, you know, we've only just started diving. you know, we've not been in the sea before. We've been doing it in a quarry, and they just kind of dunk you and go.
Really?
You know, if you can't follow the dive master, then tough.
Wow.
So that was like a bit scary. The second dive that we did that day was a little bit better, but I loved it. I just loved being under the water, even though I knew that I had a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I finished that holiday that I wanted to carry on diving.
So how many dives had you done before you went to Thailand?
I'd just done my open water dives.
What's that, 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, that's horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me being a bright spark, not really thinking it
Well,
through.
the way the BSAC and PADI differ is we are taught to take ourselves diving, whereas PADI open water, my understanding is you're taught at that point to be able to get in the water, be led by a dive master or a dive instructor.
Yep.
So in that respect, I think we've done maybe an extra dive to you, so maybe 4 dives rather than the 3. And we went diving in our local quarry where we'd learnt to dive. So we had some understanding of what we were going to see and some orientation. The same kit, configuration. People were still watching us on the surface. We had like a dive manager. You know, we're going in at this time. We'll be out in 40 minutes. See you, bye.
Yeah.
I think there's a plus and minus to both sides of that story. We were perhaps deemed to be more competent.
Yeah.
But you, in some respects, should have had more confidence because you had someone with you.
Yeah.
We didn't. We were fully alone. I wouldn't say we were ill prepared, like qualification wise, and in the training. Just out in our heads, we were like, "I'll be a piece of piss." This, and it was horrific. Buoyancy was up and down. Disorientation was a massive factor because the viz was shit anyway.
Yeah, equalisation has always been. It's not anymore, but it was when I first started. So I couldn't even descend properly when I went to Thailand. It took me ages because my ears were killing me.
Yeah.
And I didn't really factor anything of that. I don't know. I just kind of thought, you know, I'll go there. I've learned, you know, I've got my qualification. It'll be fine. Yeah. Oh, no. It's not going to be fine. No. This is where you start learning.
Yeah. I think 100 dives in for me was the point where I'd developed an understanding of what feelings I was going to go through. I don't mean emotional. You know, the actual physical aspects of it. You know, so understanding the movement of up and down in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going up now. I need to dump, or I'm going down. I need to add, or you know, the fundamental physicalities of diving, and even in that first 100 dives, my kit and equipment had changed so often. Like my configuration was so different on every dive. By about 100, I'd sort of balanced that out.
Yeah.
So it became. And obviously I was diving extremely regularly. Like we're talking 3 or 4 dives a week. So that massively helps, doesn't it? So what started your ear problems, your equalisation? Did you start doing did you have a procedure to make that easier, or did you just find it happened?
I just found that over time, I just sort of give it my all, just like squeeze my nose and blow and really like, you know, feel my ears go, and then I'll be like, it's done now, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. But it takes that's just learning, because you kind of like when you first go down, like a little squeeze of your nose and think, oh, that'll be fine. Oh no, it's not fine. My head's going to explode.
Sometimes you're almost like faffing with other things, like your buoyancy control, and you can feel you're going worse and worse, and you're still faffing instead of going clearing. And before you knew it, your head's ready to pop.
And it is so painful.
Yeah, I started taking like a decongestion before I go.
Yeah.
And that way, most of that's clear. And then even when you're doing your body check, can you equalise there and then? Because if you can do it there and then, you're definitely going to do it at 2 or 3 meters.
I started taking decongestant as well.
That definitely was a big turnaround.
Yeah.
But then I noticed, more so, I think it was last year, I was always getting itchy inner ears. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
And my mate, a real good mate of mine, he's an ear, nose and throat surgeon, so obviously deals with all that all the time. He looked at him and he said, what you can get is like a fungus growing in your ear.
Not like a big mushroom or anything.
Mushroom hanging outside of your head. But you can get stuff called ear calm from the chemist. It's just a little tiny bottle. You squirt it in and it will get rid of sort of minor infections. And he said if you use that quite regularly, then that will reduce that. But I wear ear defenders either at work all day, or I'll have my headphones in a lot. So that warm, moist atmosphere that I'm creating is exacerbated by the minging water we dive in it. Echidelph or Cape and Ray.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect habitat. So if ear calm, that's my top tip for the day.
I will remember that.
What level have you got up to now?
So advanced open water. I've just done my Project Aware course online because it was something that I could do while we were in lockdown.
What is that?
It's just being aware of the reefs and just, you know, a bit of knowledge about things underwater, basically.
I have seen in Northern Diver, they've got a couple of posters up of that, all about litter. But I'll be honest, with all the other things I've got going on, I've just never really looked into it.
Yeah, it was a good thing to do while we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
It's really informative. I did it, well, I enjoyed it because it's, you know, what I love. So before we got into lockdown, I'd booked, well, the photography course I still need to do because I was really ill, you know, that time that I was meant to be going up to Capers. I'm doing my peak performance buoyancy because I want to do that in my dry suit, because in a wetsuit I'm fine. But in a dry suit, I do really, really struggle with my buoyancy.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It is horrific. And, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm going up and I can't stop myself from going up no matter what I do in a dry suit. So I really, really want to try and get that really, really streamlined this year when we get back into the water. And then I'm doing my rescue course. So that's, you know, those are the things that I'm working towards. Or I should have been qualified in them by now, but I'm not. So
I think buoyancy's always been one of those struggles for every single diver. So what is your surface interval since the last time you've dived? How long have you been out?
So I've been out of the water since the 14th of February, which is, I think, 87 days, 88
so
days.
You went diving on Valentine's Day?
Mm-hmm.
That's horrendous.
It was cold. It was 5 degrees, the water at Capers.
Did you get a rose at the bottom with it being Valentine's Day? No? That's devastating. I don't think I'd have got away with trying to take her diving on that. So your social media then, that's how we met. So through your Instagram, obviously with you doing a lot more sort of stuff like traveling and underwater photography, which we'll touch on in a bit. How do you find the relationship with normal life and you on social media?
Well, I guess I've been on there like 4 or 5 years, so it's definitely changed over the years. Now it's just a bit of a snapshot into my life, I guess. But I use it more for looking, you know, through scuba diving things. Tattoos, I look quite a lot of, you know, at the tattoo artists that are on there. It can take up quite a lot of your life if you let it. But in recent times, I've just, you know, it has been mainly scuba diving pictures, or maybe pictures of my dog, my little pug, because he's only got one eye and he's got a really long tongue.
Yeah, really, really long tongue. Every picture's like that.
He's terrible, and he's getting older and he's lost teeth. So it's just like, his tongue is just getting, it does drag on the floor when he's got his head down, but soon he's going to be sitting and it's just going to be dragging on the floor because it's got to be the longest tongue on a dog I've ever seen.
Really? Yeah. Well, Ali's just started, she's got a cat, but she just started a little Instagram page of her cat. Honestly, started it on Sunday. She's got over 1,000 followers already.
Yeah.
Crazy cat lady's just like, frigging cat. I'm like, how on earth have you amassed 15,000 followers? It's like, but then, like you said, you've been on it forever, haven't you? So, longer than I only went on last September because I started trialing kit for somebody. So I thought perhaps need an outlet to do that.
Well, my dog has got a TikTok page, and in about a month and a half, he amassed 15,000. He's got 14,800 followers.
Shit, they're bad.
I was just like, you know, when people like follow, I was like, oh, he's just a pug with a long tongue and one eye.
You'll have to explain TikTok to me because I've only seen TikTok, you know, from the Tiger King.
Yeah.
On Netflix. Have you seen all the Carol Baskin mocking? Yeah. But that's all I've seen. So I've not been on it. Don't know what it is really. Tell me about TikTok.
Well, I didn't until my son said, oh, look at this on TikTok. And then I thought, well, do you know what? I can do some funny ones with the dog. So I did. And then he got all those followers.
What does diving give you? You know, what do you get from it?
I get a huge sense of achievement out of it.
There's a lot to learn, isn't there? There is a lot to take in.
Like I've said before, you know, it wasn't something that I thought that I would get into. It was just something that I thought I'd do for holidays. And then when I came back from the Maldives last March, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
because it's literally like being dropped in a tropical fish tank. I just felt amazing after doing it, and I thought, I can't just wait and go on holiday to do this. It needs to be something that's in my life, like a permanent fixture. So I need to do my dry suit, and I need to get in, in the cold waters of England. And I'm glad that I've done it, because there are some amazing things, I think, to see around the UK. I went to Falmouth. That was the first place that I dived in my dry suit. That was another adventure, but it was beautiful under there.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful, like all the kelp and everything.
You have quite clear water?
Yeah, really clear. I was really surprised. The walk down to the sea wasn't, because it was a shore dive, and we had to go down all these steps with our gear on, was not fun at all.
No.
And I think I fell over trying to get in the water, and, but once I was under, it was just stunning.
It can be quite off-putting, that, can't it? The trip from car park to Drummond's Point. There's not one dive I look back at and think, no matter how hard that was or expensive, and think, I wouldn't do that again for the half an hour or 40 minutes you get underwater. It's something else in it.
Even if your diving isn't that great, you always come away with that you've learned something. You always learn from a dive, even if it's just a tiny little thing.
Favourite dive site in the world?
Maldives.
Why?
Because it's just like a tropical fish tank.
I've never dived there. I've never been Indian Ocean at all. I've never been further sort of east than Afghanistan, and there was no water there, I can assure you. What kind of dive is it, is it just reef, colour, little stuff, or is the big stuff there as well?
Well, we did all our dives were boat dives. So we just went to different parts and different reefs. I think, and I hadn't done my advanced then, so it was, down to about 18 metres. Yeah. There was just so much to see. Did turtles and, and I should have been there. I should have been back out in the Maldives like 2 weeks ago, but obviously with everything that's gone on, we couldn't go. And we wanted to do like the manta rays. That was our big thing about going out there, me and my best friend Melissa.
Yeah.
But we are thinking that we're going to go again next year, but we're going to do a liverboard out in the Maldives.
It can be a bit of a rush to get there, but then when you get on the boat and you meet everyone and they're all nice, and then you sail out, and then the next day you're dropping in at 7 o'clock in the morning, there's no hardship whatsoever with that at all.
No.
4 dives a day on nitrox, so you're not narked, you've got a clear head,
you're
actually feeling a little bit more energetic because of that extra oxygen.
Yeah.
Stuff you're seeing, you go from wrecks to reefs to big stuff. You cannot beat that experience of a liverboard. No. It was hard work after a few days, especially when you get the DMV that everybody gets. And if the sea's a bit uncalm.
I went to Malapascua in the Philippines for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And that is literally just this little island where everybody dives. It's crazy. It's like I've never seen anywhere like it before.
Do they only speak English, or is it quite a common language for them to speak there?
It is, I think. It definitely is where we went, because it's just all divers. That's what it is. There's nothing else there.
Right. I suppose they've got to, haven't they, to try and attract us in.
Yeah, you see, and that was another mistake that I made. We did our first dive, Mark and I, when we went out there, the following day from when we landed.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, it had taken us, I don't know, about 33 hours of travel to get there.
That sounds horrendous.
Get up at 4:30 to do the thresher shark dive.
Mega them, aren't they?
Well, it would have been if I'd have seen any, because they'd had a tropical cyclone.
Yeah.
I think it was 4 days previous to us getting there. To all the water, the viz wasn't great. But I'd gone in, and again, I don't think I'd quite prepared myself. It was the first time that I'd been diving nitrox, and it was the first time I'd gone to, I think they took us down to about 32 meters, and I'd not been used to that. I wish what I'd done is done just a normal dive, not silly o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Got used to it, and then done the thresher shark dive.
There's a lot to be said for doing build-up dives. A lot to be said.
Yeah. So I wish I'd done that first, but live and learn. I'd definitely go back to Malapascua as well. It's beautiful. Really? I've got a Sunto D5 dive computer, which if anybody knows how to calibrate the compass on it would be great, because I've been trying and it just will not calibrate. I just go out in the field and try, see if it works out there.
Well, I'll tell you who might be able to tell you. Via Instagram, Andy Torbit, if you write to him, he'll write back to you.
Oh.
And he's like an ambassador for Sunto. So if anyone can help you, and I know for a fact he dives one of them, because somebody asked him on a chat the other day, what computers does he use? And I know he's got a D5.
Yeah.
So it might be worth, on Instagram, just go,
Yeah.
how do you calibrate the compass on here? Because I'm really struggling.
Yeah.
Someone who shouldn't have the time to bother replying seems to reply to everything I've ever asked him. With your social media then, you've come across these girls at Scuba and you've got along with them and interested with them. So what do they offer you?
They were just a Facebook group for women. And it's good to have joined that Facebook group because I think, like you said before, men and women are different. It's a lot less judgmental, I think, being in a girls only Facebook page. I think men are quite competitive.
Yeah.
With diving, I think women are less so. They want to help each other more than have a bit of one-upmanship, say, as men do. Then I followed their Instagram page, and then I knew that they did girls at scuba trips.
Right.
So whilst I was in the Philippines in January, I had an email through saying we're going to Jordan if anybody fancies it, because they do quite a few organised trips throughout the year. Yeah. So I thought, yeah, do you know what? I quite fancy doing that. So said, yeah, put my name down, paid a deposit, and now I'm just fingers crossed that we can still go. I've left some dive groups, like I think it was Divers Uncensored or something. I had to leave that. It was horrific. It was just, no, that's not for me.
How do you mean?
Oh, so you get men that would post, say, the dive masters that are the women dive masters on a dive boat. Oh, what do you think of this? And you just think they're doing their job.
Yeah.
And you'd comment on it, and then you'd get a whole lot of abuse, and you'd have people private message you horrible things. And
really,
yeah, or because you're sticking up that you shouldn't be taking pictures of a woman's behind while she's doing a job. Oh well, she's in a bikini. It's fair game. No, it's not fair game. I'm sorry. That it's just unacceptable.
What I've found is the keyboard warrior mentality. When you're trying to achieve something, like I am with my YouTube and doing these podcasts, the first thumbs down I got on a video, I might have had 20 thumbs up and loads of nice comments, made a load of friends, but one thumb down is enough to just.
And it shouldn't be. No. You've got to look at but it is. You do focus on that one negative comment, or it just takes one asshole, doesn't it, to ruin the whole thing that you're trying to do, even though 20, 30 people have really enjoyed the work that you've put out. It's just that one person, and you it's something to overcome. I think it's something that you've just got to go, oh well, you're a knob.
Well, I've been more conscious of how I behave now on the internet. I am conscious that someone out there might be asking a very reasonable question. And something the army always taught us was there's no such thing as a stupid question. It might be phrased incorrectly.
Yeah.
But there's always a stupid answer.
Yeah.
So if somebody's asking a question, it's because they want to know.
Yeah.
Not because, maybe it's because they're a knob. Why are you doing it like that? You phrase that question and it wouldn't be stupid.
No.
With the idea with this girls that scuba, does it create more of a divide between men and women?
No, I don't think it does.
Does it enhance you as a diver, perhaps? I don't know. What's your take on it?
It doesn't divide between men and women divers. It's just that we are just very different in how even our kit is set up. Like the years, probably kit's now progressed more for women, whereas before it hadn't. So even just taking, as silly as it sounds, your BCD, a normal regular BCD would be straight down. Women have got boobs, so now they've developed ones that you can pull that way. So, the kit's different. We've got different bodily functions to men, so we can sort of discuss all that sort of thing in a girls only group that you couldn't discuss that in a man's group.
We talked about me having a P valve and the ability to just go to the toilet as and when, whereas it doesn't really compute that. Certainly, even getting your kit off, I could just undo one of my zips here and there, and sort of go. Whereas you can't do that. You've got to get it all off.
Yeah.
Even your undersuit, so you couldn't wear a romper suit like I wear.
No.
And I never thought of that. So it is hard.
Women are definitely more supportive of each other.
Yeah.
You can ask a question and nobody's going to really jump down your throat, and say, this is wrong. Yeah. It's just a lot calmer. Just a normal dive group. It is mainly a lot of men that are commenting. And I've also seen, women can make a comment and men will just attack.
Really?
that, I can't remember which one I was on the other day, and a woman had made a comment, and the amount of men that had attacked her.
Wow.
You know, because she was just a recreational diver and not a technical one, they just absolutely ripped her to shreds. And I thought, oh dear.
What have you struggled with?
I've struggled. The main thing that I've struggled with is getting my gear on and getting to the dive site.
Yeah.
Like even at capers, because I'm just little and I'm not very strong. So every time I think it's just that fear of, oh my God, I've got to get all this on and I've got to get, you know, into the water. That scares me. It's not so bad anymore. But when I first started, it was scary.
I find that when it's not so much getting to the water's edge, it's getting in and not making a mistake because there's other people knocking about, and you don't want to look that fumbling idiot that can't get your fin on or fall over or gets a free flow. That's the worst one because no one looks around, do they? It's like, yeah, mate, just another free flow. You don't need to watch. I'll sort it out.
It's me. It's fine. I'm the dickhead. Getting in and trying not to fall over, or getting out and not falling over. But I think I've overcome that because I just think I don't care. I just don't care if I fall over anymore. Like the last time I went to capers in February, I fell over on my front before I actually got out of the car park bit to go down the little alleyway before you get into the water. And I'd got all my kit. I couldn't get up. I don't know if it's because I was laughing so hard. So there was only another couple there, and Mark, and they just like literally had to kind of just hoik me up off my knees, and then I was fine. Oh.
I did it on a boat. I think it was the Farns, or maybe in Plymouth last year. I can't remember. So as I've tried to shuffle forward, set on my back, boosh, got thrown forward. How I've not broke a wrist or. So you do a lot of travelling then, don't you? How many countries have you been to?
I have been to 32.
Shit.
I don't think that's a lot.
I don't think I've been on 32 holidays, let alone 32 flipping countries. That is a lot.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, are you counting like Scotland and Wales in that?
No.
Well, get it up. You might have 35 now.
Oh, yeah, if I included Scotland, I'd have about 35.
What's your favourite country?
My favourite country is Portugal, but I've not been diving there because I've always had friends and family there. So it's always been difficult to try and get away because it's always been a family holiday. But definitely the Maldives for diving is my favourite country. Right. But my overall favourite country is Portugal.
So seeing you trying to learn Portuguese, that sounds like a bit of a grizz because it's like someone's talking Klingon when I hear them.
I'm getting there. It's that whole slow learning process.
Yeah.
And I get angry with myself that I can't do it. But, you know, languages take a long time to learn if you've got a full-time job, a hobby, kids, house, you know. So
where do you see yourself going with your camera then? I mean, like training-wise, do you think you're going to...
Yeah, I'm probably going to do an underwater photography course with him. And he was based at I think they did it at the London Dive School.
Right.
That was meant to be 2 weeks' time, but of course, everything's just been put on hold.
You won't see, but Vicky's just brought a dog on. Stated tongue on it. It's massive. That's brilliant. What's your dog called?
Douglas.
Douglas, what a cool name. Look at his tongue. He could probably touch the floor when he stood up on his hind legs.
It's ridiculous.
Massive.
See, that's the thing that I'm going to do. Like I have paid to do my underwater photography with Stella, but that was just going to be my starting base. Yeah. Really, I just really wanted to, or I still really just want to get to grips with just being underwater with the camera, and then after that, I'm going to progress on to, you know, probably doing more specialised courses.
What do you reckon to one of these, like, do they call them a masterclass or something like that? You know, where you go out to the Caymans with Alex Mustard.
Oh, well, so I've got, obviously, his book.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to somebody about, because I looked into the courses that he did online, the way you could go, you know, to these places, wherever in the world, and take his photography course. And somebody did say to me, you need to be quite experienced before you even think about going on that sort of a course, because you won't get enough out of it. Right. You know, you'll just be like, it'll be too much. So that is what so for me to build up to go and do that sort of a class and go away and do something with, say, Alex Mustard would be fantastic. Yeah. But I really need to build up.
So if you could go back to Vicky, who started learning to dive 2 years ago, and put your hand on her shoulder and say, just stop a minute, what advice would you give you as you started to learn to dive, or a new diver?
It's going to take you a long time to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And don't be too hard on yourself. That is what I would say. Because the amount of times I've come out of dives and gone, I'm really pissed off with myself because I didn't do this or I didn't do that or I should have known to do this. So yeah, any advice would be like every dive, you're going to be learning something new. Be kind to yourself.
How long did it take you to learn that? What advice you just give,
I haven't. I still haven't. I'm too impatient.
I'm saying everything needed to be yesterday. It needs to be a hurry. Last thing then, have you got people that have been instrumental in your diving that you want to just give a name?
So definitely Mark Riley, because he's been my dive buddy since day one. We qualified together. We still have got plenty of dives planned this year. I'd like to say thank you to Stellar Divers for teaching me how to dive and they're quite like a dive family, really.
I think that's one good thing that I found with diving is I've made, much like in the army, I've made a lot of contacts around the world.
They're a fantastic group of people.
Yeah.
And I've really got a lot out of them. Vic and Hotch are just brilliant. I'm glad that I've came across Girls That Scuba and their Facebook page because they have a lot to offer. They've got a lot of guidance, and the girls on there that comment on posts or they're all very supportive of one another. And I think that's it really.
On that note, thanks very much for coming.
More than welcome.
Been interesting.
Lovely to speak to you.
No doubt we'll probably catch up again at some point at Cape and Ray for a brew, if not a dive.
Definitely, we definitely should.
Thanks for coming.
Later. Bye.
Bye. So that draws to a close the end of episode 5 with my friend and advocate for all girls that scuba, Vicky Burton. From a perspective that isn't often heard, over those voices of experience or fame, she tells of her relatively short experience in the sport and how she has faced up to many a challenge along the way to rise up stronger as an example to us all. You've been listening to Fancy a Brew with me, Andy the Northern Diver. You can find more episodes of scuba related content on my YouTube channel. A link is in the description below. If you like the podcast, please subscribe and consider leaving us a 5-star review. If there's someone or something you'd like on the show, then let us know via the Facebook page listed in the podcast notes. Thanks again and see you on the next one.